Good morning. Happy Thursday to all of you out there writing these compare and contrast essays. This is Dr. Christian Lehman here with the next part, Part 3, second body paragraph and your conclusion. What can you look forward to today? Well, in this video, I will offer some suggestions about how to decide what to do with your second body paragraph. It's an exciting moment for you because it's all about structure. How will you put all the different pieces of your essay together? At the end, I will also offer advice about the conclusion, a portion of the essay video series I was going to do tomorrow, but I want to give you guys a little bit of a break. So part 3, the second body paragraph. At this point, you have two major choices in terms of how to structure it. First, you have your introduction, which you're done with, and then you have your first body paragraph complete. So at this point, with the second one, you can go a second body paragraph about the same text. Here I give Fun Home as the example. And so if in the first body paragraph you introduced the idea of your examination of whatever the theme and literary element you were doing, the next one you can go deeper. Where does another situation happen later on in the book? How does it explore or expand upon what you're interested in? And then your third body paragraph would introduce the new text and then go into a deep dive of that in the fourth body paragraph. You can also interweave the two texts. In this example, you would have the introduction, and then you would look at both texts sequentially. So your first body paragraph would be about Fun Home, introducing the idea of the literary technique and the theme that you're investigating. And then you would do the same thing for American Street. Then you would go back to Fun Home and give the deep analysis, and then you would go back to American Street and give the deep analysis. This is called an interlocking structure. And these are mostly aesthetic and argumentative choices. What makes the strongest paper for you and for your topic? So this is a little bit formulaic, and I hope it's not going to be too confusing. If your second body paragraph is Fun Home deep, then your third body paragraph needs to introduce the compare and contrast element to American Street. If you did the interlocking, and so your second body paragraph is American Street, then the second body paragraph, needs to have the compare and contrast. In what follows, I want to introduce a few different ways of discussing the compare and contrast. So for example, Bechdel's interest in how the home and her father's secret continues throughout the next 3, 4, 5, however many chapters, and culminates when, put the quote and the analysis, right? So this would be your second body paragraph being Fun Home deep, because the first one, I introduced the idea of the metaphor of the home and the father's interest in like keeping surfaces clean because something's not clean. He has that secret, that guilt underneath. And then it culminates, and this is whenever you find it culminating, right? This is where the argument that you're making, the analysis. And so that's where you put your quote in and then analyze it. Another way of doing this, the tension between the home and the family secrets continues to increase until it shatters when, followed by your quote and analysis. Right, so an obvious example would be when the storm happens and we see the image of the house, which is not crooked, but the image shows the home being crooked. We spent a lot of time on that in class. So then the third body paragraph is going to be about American Street, and you need a transition phrase. And this is the thing that I really want to focus on in this paper, is having you pick the best possible phrase to help the reader understand the comparison and the contrast that you're putting together. So what is an example? I like to use of where. So this is again beginning the third body paragraph as we transition to American Street. So where Fun Home used the decoration and exterior of the house to explore the home metaphor, American street uses food and bedrooms, right? I now know that in that paragraph, you would be analyzing a situation where there's food as a metaphor or bedrooms as a metaphor, right? You've given me the hint, and so then you can go to the quote. So where one text does something, the other text does another thing. Another way to do this, in contrast to Bechdell's presentation of the home as a space that puts everyone into isolation, Fabiola's understanding of the home is about shared space. So this picks up some of those images that we spent time on, where everybody has their own space in the house in Fun Home, whereas with Fabiola, we always see people together in the house. Lots of different ways to do this. But notice you're beginning the paragraph with a word or a phrase that tells me, the reader, or your other readers, what you are putting into contrast. Because you have to remind us. You always have to remind people about what they just read. Otherwise, they forget. But if, say, you want to do a comparison, right, where seeing things are similar. So then you can use strong words like similarly, likewise, in a strong parallel, anything else that works. What I want to emphasize is you are beginning that compare-contrast paragraph with a transition word. That's your signpost that tells the reader, oh, here's the turn. Here's what's happening. So, how about conclusions? Well, there's two major approaches to conclusions. There's a really safe way where you just restate what you did in the essay, right? In this essay, I have investigated homes and metaphors in da-da-da-da-da. All right, that's a nice little tie-up, and some people will prefer that. Personally, I like when there's a little bit of a hint where you tell me what I can do with this information. So, for instance, here you would expand on the consequence of your essay. By placing these two texts in a dialogue, we notice some observation, right? Where else can we go from this? You've made a tight argument about the importance of your investigation. Now tell me what I can do with it. Where else can I take it? And that could be outside of the text in the analysis, or it could be within. For instance, in putting together this sequence of videos, I discovered that both books are concerned with the death of the patriarch and the home. So I would say, quote, although I did not have space in this essay to fully explore the relationship between the deaths of fathers and the importance of home, my investigation of both of these texts suggests fruitful future analysis. And then that should have a close quote, but I left it off. And so what I've just done, right, and you can remind yourselves that Bruce dies when he's working on fixing up a new home. And he's shirtless, so we have those issues of exposure, but also disguise. And in the same way, when we have the alternative perspective from the house's point of view, we learn about all of the deaths of the male figures that are associated with that house. Until ultimately, it's only a home of women, and they leave and liberate themselves. So these are not issues that I had time to investigate in 3 pages, but they're fruitful ways for the text to go forward. So, what else can you look forward to besides working on these paragraphs over the weekend? Well, here's where I'd like you to be coming in Monday. You'll have your rough draft. You'll have figured out your structure. You'll have dug into your quotations, right? Finding those rich words, those literary techniques that you're going to use to shore up your analysis. And then, text some friends, create a group chat. What do they see in your quotes? Ask them to challenge you, explore, share the joy that you have of your discoveries. And then, just as a final little comic from Calvin and Hobbes, Hobbes says, do you have an idea for your story yet? No, I'm waiting for inspiration. You can't just turn on creativity like a faucet. You have to be in the right mood. What mood is that? Last minute panic. I know several of you probably feel similarly to this, but trust me, it really helps to let your ideas brainstorm and try writing in a few different ways. So with that, I really hope that you guys look forward to a great, relaxing weekend. Take care of yourselves. Try to get outside. Keep washing your hands though, and staying far away from people.